Am I the asshole for telling my daughter that the birth of her baby bothers my wife? I have been married to my wife Karen for the last 12 years. I have a 26-year-old daughter Emily from my first marriage. Karen and Emily developed a wonderful bond over the years, which was really heartwarming to see, especially because Emily didn't have much of a mother figure growing up. Emily's biological mom struggled with addiction, and her parental rights were terminated when Emily was young. For most of her life it was just me and Emily, and I did my best to raise her. But I knew there were things only a mother could provide, and when Karen came into our lives, she filled that role beautifully. Over the years, Karen became a true mother figure to Emily. She was there for all the milestones, prom, graduation, college, and everything in between. Emily loved her and they became very close. For a long time it felt like our family was whole, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. However, things took a turn 3 months ago, and now I'm questioning if I handled things wrong. 3 months ago, Emily gave birth to a baby boy, our first grandchild. It was a joyous occasion, and Karen and I rushed to the hospital to see him. The day was filled with smiles, laughter, and happy tears. We took turns holding the baby, and I could see the joy in Karen's eyes as she cradled him, cooing softly. I thought everything was perfect, that we were all experiencing a moment of pure happiness. But when we got home, everything changed. Karen quietly excused herself and said she needed a shower. We have a spacious double shower, and I decided to join her, figuring it would be a good time to talk about the day and bask in the glow of being new grandparents. I was adjusting the water and chatting, but I noticed she had her back to me, unusually silent. Something felt off, and when I turned her around, I saw that she had been silently crying. I knew right away that this wasn't just about the day being overwhelming. There was something deeper going on. When she saw that I noticed, it was like a dam broke and she just sobbed, her whole body shaking. I held her, and we stood there in the shower for what felt like forever. Eventually we got out, and I lay down with her as she cried herself to sleep. You see, Karen had a daughter who passed away many years ago. Her daughter would have been the same age as Emily if she were still alive. Karen's daughter died in a tragic accident about a year before we met, and though she doesn't talk about it often, I know it's something she carries with her every day. She's always been incredibly strong, but I can't imagine how hard it must have been for her to watch Emily grow up, hitting milestones that she never got to see her own daughter reach. She has done a remarkable job of keeping it together and showing so much love to Emily, but I knew that this particular moment, seeing Emily have a baby, becoming a grandmother, had to bring all of that grief and loss to the surface. After Karen fell asleep, I couldn't stop thinking about how to protect her from more pain. I love her deeply, and seeing her in that much distress was gut-wrenching. Here's where I might have messed up. A few days later, Emily's husband Brian sent me a text asking if we could bring a dish to a welcome home dinner they were planning for the family to celebrate the baby's arrival. It was going to be a casual event, but I knew Karen was still struggling. I didn't want her to have to put on a brave face and risk being overwhelmed all over again, so I told Brian that we might need to skip this one. I explained that Karen was having a hard time with everything and that I wanted to stay with her that weekend to make sure she was okay. I added that we would definitely make it up to them another time, and I thought that would be the end of it. I figured they'd understand, especially since they both knew about Karen's past and her daughter's passing. I thought a little empathy would go a long way here. But when Karen woke up a few hours later, her phone was flooded with text messages from Emily, and they were not pleasant. Emily was upset, hurt, and accusing Karen of not wanting to be a part of her son's life. She couldn't understand why Karen would suddenly pull back, and she took it as a personal slight. Karen was devastated. She has always gone out of her way to show love to Emily, and she felt blindsided by Emily's reaction. She immediately tried to call Emily to explain, but Emily wouldn't answer. Karen has been trying to reach out for weeks, sending messages and even dropping by, but Emily hasn't been receptive. That was 3 months ago, and we haven't seen our grandson since that first visit at the hospital. Karen confronted me about what I'd told Brian, and she was furious. She said she fully intended to go to the dinner, even if it was hard for her, and that I had no right to decline on our behalf without consulting her first. She explained that if she'd felt she couldn't handle it, she would have found a way to excuse herself at the last minute without causing a fuss. I thought I was doing the right thing by being honest. I wanted Emily and Brian to understand that Karen was going through something very painful, something she had tried to bury for a long time. I thought they would have more empathy for what she was dealing with, but looking back, I can see how it might have come across as insensitive, especially to Emily, who probably doesn't fully grasp the extent of Karen's grief. Now here we are, 3 months later, and everyone is hurting. Karen is devastated that she feels cut off from Emily and the baby. She's mad at me for making the decision without her, and she's sad that she might have missed her chance to be close to her grandson. Emily, on the other hand, seems to feel betrayed and doesn't understand why Karen would distance herself after all these years of being a supportive, loving stepmother. I genuinely believed I was doing the right thing by trying to protect Karen from more pain. I thought I was helping, but I see now that I may have made things worse by not letting her make the call herself. I never meant to cause this kind of rift. I love both of them dearly, and I just wanted to make things easier for Karen, especially given everything she's been through. So Reddit, am I the asshole for telling Emily the truth about why we might not make it to the welcome home dinner? Should I have just let Karen handle it? Or was I right to be honest about what was going on, even if it backfired? Everyone is hurting, and I'm not sure what to do to fix this. Should I apologize to Emily, to Karen, or to both? Any advice would be appreciated.